Bam! MC is in the house. What's up, folks? My name is Justin Garcia, also known as Master Chim, and welcome to the Warrior Stream. I am here every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And what I do on these talks is I take a topic, I deep dive, and usually have a pretty good discussion with those of you who are in attendance. Little bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you guys are not getting my emails, go to masterchimletter.com. The link is going to be in the description. You know, no matter where you are watching this live stream, it should be in the description. But definitely check that out. Who do we got here so far? Jesse, what's going on, brother man? Good to see you. Yarn Saxa, good to see you, Dawn. Hope all is well. My man Want2, good to see you again. And got a couple of other things going on. I always tell myself to be better at letting people know on these shows what's going on. But aside from the emails, I also have for a couple of days the Wartime Chief design. And if I was actually prepared properly, I would have, let me see if I could do it. I might be able to put it in the chat. I don't know where this thing is, but I have, here it is. I'm going to put it in the chat. So I designed another shirt, the Wartime Chief. I like it. Those of you who have been following me for a while know that most of the shirts that I design, they're really just shirts that I want to wear, and I find a way to make them for sale to people who like them too. So I'm going to put that here in the chat. So it should be on the chat. Doesn't matter if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, but you can check that out. And that's going to be available only until Friday. I don't keep a lot of the newer designs up for long. I want to give everybody an opportunity to get it. And then I sort of take it down and focus on other stuff. So if you guys want that shirt, you have until Friday to get it, and the link's in the description. Corey, what's going on, brother man? Good to see you. And here is the link that I shared. I've never shared one of my own posts in the chat. It's the first time. I didn't even know I could do that. So that's on the YouTube page. You guys should see that. And the Facebook page. There it is. So, all right, what the hell's going on? Let me stay focused here. So we got a pretty good topic prepared today. And I got to be honest, the reason I wanted to talk about this today is because of just how prevalent an issue I see it being with those of you that I am observing on social media. Now, as I caffeinate, I never expect media to do anything other than what media does, which is propagandized you into engaging its content so that it can expose advertisers to you and advertising to you, therefore increasing its advertising budget. It's probably more prevalent now than ever. Well, it certainly is, because the mechanisms by which they can communicate are that much more ubiquitous, abundant, easily disseminated. But also, a lot of them have lost the circulation aspect, the money that they raise for actually getting people to pay for their shit. So advertising is being leaned on that much more significantly. Now, obviously, there are a whole bunch of other motives as to why media does what it does, aside from just trying to generate viewership and make money. But the point that I'm making by even bringing them up is I can't blame them for what's going on with you. I can't blame them for what's going on with me. There's a certain point where we have to figure out what we're supposed to be doing at any given time. So I decided to call today's talk, Politics is Poisoning Your Power. And that's the message I want to convey. There is still a level of participation, I think, in arguing with strangers on the internet, that so many people that are connected to me and my stuff are still just not tracking. You have so much shit that you're supposed to care about and be invested in before you get to that shit. It's just a level of irresponsibility involved. But I don't want to just leave you with that. I don't want to just leave you with this notion that, yeah, you're being irresponsible. Don't watch politics, because that's not very practical. Right? I want to give you a little bit more to go on. I don't want to ever tell anybody what to do. It's my, I guess it is my job. I've made it my job to point out contradictions. It's like, if you say you want to do this, then why are you doing that? If you say you want to be this, then why are you being that? If you want to accomplish this thing, why aren't you doing the things that accomplish it? There's all these just inconsistencies that, my whole thing is that this is the lens that I put against myself every day. So if I'm putting content out there, I can't help but to allow that to sort of permeate into the messaging that I'm sharing with the people that watch my stuff. So all that being said, I put a list together, and it's called The Top 5 Reasons Politics is Poisoning Your Power. I like lists. I like lists because I've tried on a couple of occasions sort of designing just like a framework for these talks that like a producer would create like an episode where it's like, okay, this feature, we're going to start with this, and then we're going to get into this. I just can't fucking do it. I can't. There goes that fucking word. I can't use that word. I can't use can't. I think you guys are tracking what I'm saying. My point is, I find it more organic, creative, authentic even, to have a couple of things I want to talk about and just riff. There are going to be things that I produce a little bit more, structurally. I don't like when these talks follows too much of a rigid structure. So I created a list because that's the easy framework that gets me going. And again, today's list is the top 5 reasons politics is poisoning your power. So this is not going to be in any specific order. I should probably do a countdown, but I just sat there and brainstormed and came up with the 5 things that I think are of the highest priority. So in no specific order. Number 5, I guess if I'm starting with 5, I'm going down to a countdown. It is in order. Maybe I should start with 1. Let's start with 1. Number 1, why politics is poisoning your power. It is breaking your rituals. The number 1 reason, it's breaking your rituals. When you're focusing on the Democrats, the Republicans, the Jews, the Palestinians, the Russians, the Ukrainians, you're losing sight of some fundamental elements of how a man could best design his life. In TRIBALNOMICS, I talk about the RPS formula, right? Ritual, procreation, survival. Rituals are the things that an identity does to be himself. If it's a group, then to be itself. Ritual is just a list of things that are done. Procreation is that subset of rituals that allows there to be more of the identity. We can grow as an individual. We can evolve and grow as a tribe. But procreation is that sort of expansive, creative growth aspect of the rituals that we have. And survival are those rituals and strategies and morals that allow us to not lose existing members or existing components of who we are. So every single day we try to become more, and we try to hold on to what we have, to put it in simple terms. When we are arguing about politics online or anywhere else for that matter, it is breaking those rituals that allows us to be the best we could possibly be. So it is important to focus on what rituals do for us. And if we could articulate what that is and the purpose, the function, the objective of these rituals, I don't think it takes much to realize just how off mission arguing about politics is when compared to them. If your daily rituals suffer, your relationships weaken, your vigilance drops, your empire, your tribe, your sense of well-being, all of it begins to crumble. But from within, because you are no longer doing the things that allow you to grow those positive, valuable aspects of who you are. So the number one reason why politics is poisoning your power, it breaks your rituals. Let's move on to the next one. Johnny Groove, I see you, brother, man. Good to see you. So the second reason why politics is poisoning your power, it kills creativity. One of the things you'll see prevalent in a lot of the political arguing that goes on, it's the us versus them narrative. The us versus them narrative is one of the biggest, I would say, drivers of groupthink. We want to beat that other person on the other side of the fence. Well, that other person represents a group. We don't feel that we could beat that group by ourselves. So we sort of assimilate into our side of the fence so that we could collectively take on them. We could talk to them about how terrible they are. We could draw strength from them when the other side is making us feel terrible about who we are. This idea of sort of falling into the false dichotomy that is the political discourse today, it's something that we need to wrap our heads around. If you are following a group, you are to a certain extent removing the significance of your own experiences. We each have our own lives. We each have our own, ups and downs. And that angle of our experience, that sort of angle and perspective of who we are, helps us with our problem solving. It helps us with our creativity. It helps us add value to our lives. When we reduce that just to fit in with the group, we become lesser equipped and lesser capable of designing the best life we're capable of. So, number two is the number two reason why politics is poisoning your power. It kills your creativity. It kills your original thinking. Let's get to number three. Number three speaks on something that at this stage of my life, I am probably more disproportionately focused on than at any other point in my life that I can recall. And the number three reason why politics is poisoning your power is it drains your energy. I always find it, ironic, if not flat out contradictory, that people go out of their way to make sure that they have energy, whether it's taking energy drinks, taking pills, obsessing over sleep rituals and all these different things. And then they'll participate in things that do nothing but waste that energy that they've built. Every heated debate, every social argument costs you in energy. Energy is the very emotional capital that each of us needs to build progress, to engage conflict. If there is going to be power, there needs to be pressure. In order for us to engage pressure, to leverage it in order to become power, we need the energy to do so. A waste of energy, I define a waste as anything that does not produce a return. If it produces a return, it is an investment. We should always be looking forward to making investments. Our energy it falls, by these rules just like anything else does. Our energy should be invested, not wasted. There is nothing in the form of energy that we get in return arguing about politics on the internet that is sustainable and able to be leveraged into our individual missions. Winning arguments online does nothing for you. We argue to win arguments. Well, what is the point of arguing if even if you win it, you get nothing to show for it, right? It's nothing but a net loss, right? So number three, The number 3 reasons why politics is poisoning your power: it drains your energy, right? So just to recap so far, the number 1 was it breaks up your rituals. Number 2, it kills creativity. Number 3, it drains your energy. We've got 2 more. Let's get after it. So number 4, it hijacks your focus. When we are arguing about politics, obsessing about politics, because it needn't even just be an argument, it could just be an obsession. When we are doing that, it is constantly cluttering our mental space. It is hijacking our ability to sort of pay attention to the ups and downs, to the feedback more generally that the environment is giving us, to be able to be better versions of who we are, in order to see progress. When we're focused on those things, we're tracking the sort of the latest news, the current events, the political twists, the secrets, the exposés, all of these different things that are doing absolutely nothing for us in the moment. The clarity that we need to navigate our life that is filled with so many obstacles that are laying in front of us, that clarity is not helped in the least by paying attention to what's going on by people or to people that have absolutely no contact with your everyday life. Focusing on that, it robs you of the clarity needed for the type of sort of precise movements and consistent rituals in your own personal life where the real power is actually made, where real power is actually forged. It's in your life that you create that power. It is not in the thing you wanted to happen that you're glad happened, that, oh, thank goodness it happened on some other part of the planet that has no direct effect on your circumstances, no direct effect on not only your power, but the power that people that rely on you are getting the benefit of. You could be right in every political guess or speculation you make without anybody that relies on you faring any better because of it. So the number 4 reason why politics is poisoning your power is it is hijacking your focus. So I've got one more here, right? And this is a very prevalent one. Not just in the political arena, but the politics certainly is a very common scapegoat where this is concerned. But the number 5 reason why politics is poisoning your power is it blocks responsibility. When you're looking at the right and wrong, the win or loss, the should have done, wound up doing, all these different back and forths on the national or international stage, you are outsourcing the responsibility that you should own for your own life. There's a point in, I think it was Forrest Gump, where Jenny, remember Jenny? Jenny, she had a boyfriend, and he was like this revolutionary, I don't know what the fuck you call him. He was just some hippie asshole that was arguing about the president. And why, and that he sort of posed that as the reason why everything in his life was fucked up and why he was so upset and everything. We could find these people every day of our lives. These people that they have a level of frustration, and you ask them about the frustration, and they give you a reason, an explanation about why they're frustrated that has absolutely no bearing on anything is connected to their life. Sometimes you'll ask somebody why, they're not in a great mood or why things aren't going great or what's the reason for their current set of circumstances. Many different questions you could ask like this. And the answer you get is, it sort of makes no more sense than if somebody were to talk about their astrology sign or, I threw the chicken bones down this morning and you'll never guess what they told me. Or, I just can't get a break ever since, that lady put that curse on me. It's like, well, wait a minute. It's so easy to to sort of romanticize how there is some universal conspiracy, against your success. But when you look at somebody and you take inventory for what they do in a given day, day after day, it does not take a genius to figure out that if they're living under fucked up circumstances, they're probably engaging in fucked up rituals. If nothing is getting done in terms of progress in their lives, you could probably audit their rituals, their actions, their deeds, and you will find that they have done nothing to build progress in their lives. And so one of the things that that politics, being obsessed about politics, arguing about politics, one of the things it does to poison your power is that it separates a man from the accountability he should have for his own circumstances. When we blame external forces, when we blame external conditions, understand that it's easy, right? So why does somebody always blame the other thing? Well, I don't think this is incredibly insightful, but worth at least putting down with the rest of this stuff. It's the easy way out. And because it's the easy way out, we should expect people who want easy, who are used to easy, who are built for easy, to take that easy way out. So if you don't have a little bit of grit, right, to who you are, it's certainly not a surprise that you would take the easy way out. Well, you're not made for the type of adversity that's in between you and the progress you claim to want. You're not made for that. You get somebody who, is 4'8", and he says he wants to play in the NBA. It's like you could respect, the fact that he has these ambitions, but there's a certain point where it's like, you're not made for that. So if you're not made for that, show me what you're doing to defy the fact that you're not made for it. And a lot of times when you see people who don't have what they want, who aren't being the person they claim to be, it starts off with them not being built for it, but then they've done nothing to sort of compensate for that. I think it was Muggsy Bogues. I grew up playing basketball in New York City, so I always have a lot of basketball, analogies and examples. But Muggsy Bogues was 5'3", made it to the NBA. 5'3", played multiple seasons, made it to the NBA. Muggsy Bogues was not Shaq. Shaq was a 7'2" monster. He had to work, but he didn't have to work like Muggsy Bogues. Why? Because Shaq was built for the NBA. Muggsy Bogues wasn't. You'll have people who claim to want to be somewhere in life, who claim to want to achieve certain things, to have certain things, to be a certain type of person. And that not only are they not made for that, but then they're not even doing the work necessary to get past it. And in this day and age, so many of these individuals would much rather argue about political conflicts that are arguably detached from their day-to-day experiences. It is, arguing about politics is not too far from arguing about sports. Whenever somebody argues about anything, and you guys have heard me say this before, right? The complaining framework, right, or flow chart I made, I've shared it before, so you can find it on my Instagram probably. Like anything somebody's complaining about, you ask them, is there anything you could do? If they can't do anything about it, you tell them, shut the fuck up then. Then what the fuck are you complaining about? If there is something that they can do, you say, do it. After some time, you ask them, have you done it? If they say yes, you say, well, shut the fuck up about it. You did what you could do. If they didn't, you say, well, do it again. And you keep saying, do it, do it, do it, do it. If they decide, well, I don't want to do it, then shut the fuck. Either way, it winds up just shutting the fuck up about the damn thing. Why? Because we got shit to do. When you argue about politics, You could spend 12 hours a day winning every internet battle you have and still have no gas in the gas tank, no food in the fridge, lights not working, people relying on you, not getting taken care of, but you could be undefeated on the internet that day. The accountability that we should all have as men should prevent us from wasting so much energy online, obsessing over politics. Taking the bandwidth we have mentally, cognitively, the limited bandwidth we have, and allocating a significant portion of that to a ritual that does absolutely nothing in terms of giving us a return. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So let me recap here. The top 5 reasons politics is poisoning your power. Number 1, it breaks your rituals. When your focus is taken over by politics, you're not doing the things you're supposed to be doing. You're not looking that thing up. You're not working out. You're not doing that favor for somebody. You're not reading that thing you were supposed to read or training or practicing that thing you were supposed to train or practice. You're not doing the things you're supposed to do. You're arguing about politics. You're obsessing over politics. So the number 1 thing, it breaks your rituals. Number 2, it kills your creativity. It sabotages your original thinking. There's always going to be a pressure to sort of find your way and move into a spot with a larger group, right? Groupthink is a thing when it comes to arguing politics. Everything gets reduced to a false dichotomy when you scale up the number of people arguing about it big enough. You know, there's so much pressure to have a blind allegiance. We see this today. Like in politics now, I voted for Trump. I thought Trump was an incredibly better choice than Harris, than Biden before that. But that doesn't mean that I'm some Trump sycophant. It doesn't mean that I support Trump obsessing over Israel. It doesn't mean that I support Trump once again talking about red flag laws for firearms. I think it is the opposite of what he said he was going to do. But here's the thing, because I voted for him, it does not somehow exempt him from criticism when I see it worthy of criticism, because I'm still who I am as an individual. Now, I'm not going to change my day because of these things that the president's fucking up on, because I got shit to do, right? But the tendency to sort of, Trump's a great example. Everybody just give him this pass. Before that, you had people who were defending Biden, defending Harris the same way. It's like there's no room for critical thinking. There's no room for a consistent intellectual honesty, right? That's what politics does. It kills your original thought. It kills your creativity. It kills a component of who you are, your identity, because you have to get on the one of the 2 sides you identify with, right? Number 3, it drains your energy. We do so much, and as you get older, I'm 50 now. Right now, I track my sleep. I track my caffeine intake. Like there's certain things I do with exercise, and I have all these rituals that are directly designed to give me more energy during the day. Not really a thing when I was 20 or 30. But if you start the bad habits then, when you stop having the biological sort of help, you wind up being dysfunctional from the inconsistent level of energy that you could produce, because so much of it is being wasted dealing with politics. So that's number 3, it drains your energy. Number 4, hijacks your focus. If you are paying attention to all these different, twists and turns online with what's happening in the political world, it clutters up your bandwidth. If it clutters up your bandwidth, you have less of your bandwidth to process and navigate the life that you're supposed to be living. traversing the obstacles that are between or in the middle of you and your goals, your expressed goals. I want to be a millionaire. A little shallow of a goal, but let's say I want to be a millionaire. Okay, well, these are the things you have to do. But can you believe what fucking Trump did? It's like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, Trump. Okay, we can criticize what. I thought you wanted to be a millionaire. Like, we're supposed to do these things. Yeah, but do you see what Zelensky did? It's like, okay, again, I understand. He shouldn't have wore a fucking tracksuit. I get it. But we gotta do this stuff today, right? Because you said you wanted to be a millionaire. That is what it's like dealing with people who obsess over these things, right? So number 4, hijacks your focus. And finally, number 5, it blocks responsibility, right? It disconnects you from accountability. You're the person who has people relying on you, the person that you've obligated, you've committed an oath, to a promise to people around you to be something for them. Well, if you're obsessing about politics, just how good of a job could you possibly do? Oh, how come you don't have a job? Because the fucking immigrants, the labor, it's like, okay, at what point in that tirade is food put in your refrigerator? It doesn't mean that you have to not have these opinions. I'm arguing against obsessing over it to the point where you somehow remove your own responsibility to do your job because of how fucked up things are. It's not what men do, not what functional men do, at least, right? All right, so there you have it. The top 5 reasons why politics is poisoning your power. Do me a favor, if you're not getting my emails, go to masterjimletter.com and sign up. They're free. They're every day, and I have a good time writing them. I always get a lot of good feedback, too, from those of you guys that are reading them. In the comments, I put the listing for my Wartime Chief shirt. It's just this week only. Friday will be the last day. So if you're interested in getting that, definitely check that out. No Brain says, thanks. Also, thanks for the emails. Right on. I'm glad you're enjoying them. But I appreciate you guys. I'll be here next week as always. And to all of you men and women out there, pressure to power.